Alright guys, so in this video I'm going to be going over a totally non-biased, independent perspective on how to view polls for the 2024 election, and I think on Sundays is when I'm going to give my polling updates, because this is really the time to go over polls for elections. It's kicking into gear with the 2024 election happening just in a matter of months. Let's organize it. Let's just, instead of me doing this randomly, like once every 4 days, coming out with new polls, just do it once a week on Sunday and recap all the big polls. Was there any major movement? But in this video, I do want to talk about the polling history, and I'm specifically talking about the 2016 and 2020 general elections. Now, you can see the 2020 national polls, most of the pollsters overvaluing, overrating the Democrats. That's not surprising. Something very similar we saw happen in 2016. And really, when you look at the polls in 2020, a lot of people didn't take them seriously. They did have Biden ahead significantly going into election night. He was up by around 7 points in terms of the popular vote. He only ends up winning it by 4. It's a 3-point difference. And you're also looking at crazy outliers in Wisconsin, where there was a poll that came out a few weeks before the election that had Biden up 17. He only wins the state by about less than a point. So there has been, at least in the past 2 elections, a significant overvalue in terms of the potential Democrats' performance, pollsters seemingly overvaluing them. And I have heard the narrative already, well, they've readjusted, the polls are evolving, now they're correctly sampling Trump voters and Republicans, and maybe they're right, because we have seen a significant change. When you look at just the general average right now, you're looking at a popular vote advantage for Trump by 1.1, and it's important, that's just Trump versus Biden. That's phenomenal news for Donald Trump. I know there's the narrative out there that, oh, it's anyone's race, Biden's making this comeback, and I agree. In the general sense, it's far too early to say, oh, Trump for sure is going to win, or it's going to be 50-50, whatever. But right now, it's undeniable. You look at these polls, if we were going into election night, I would say there's about an 85% chance Trump wins if these are what the polls look like. We have to understand that Real Clear Politics poll average right now, 1.1, that is just Trump Biden, and that's with, in 2020, the polls significantly undervaluing Trump, and in 2016 with the polls significantly undervaluing Trump. We already know that RFK Jr. is going to be on most of these ballots in the important swing states, and that he helps Trump overall. Stein will help Trump at least slightly. So will Cornel West. And then you look at all the important swing states, he really doesn't have to win Wisconsin as long as he wins, Arizona, Nevada. Trump up by 4.5 in Arizona, Nevada, it's 3. That's just Trump versus Biden. If you include the others, Trump's lead expands a little bit. Michigan, Trump up 3. I think that's a toss-up. Pennsylvania, Biden plus 0.1. There was a crazy outlier that swung in the direction of Biden. We're going to go over it. That happened this week, and that's why Biden is up there slightly. North Carolina, Trump almost up 5. I think Trump very, very likely to win North Carolina. He won it in 2016 and 2020. Very slim margins. I'm guessing in 2024 it will be a little bit higher in terms of a victory. But looking at the polling recap for this week, Tuesday, Biden-Trump head-to-head, Biden plus 2. I think that's a marginal win for Trump when you get a head-to-head poll like that. That doesn't include anyone else. General election, including all of them, Trump 3. That is a Republican pollster. I really wouldn't pay attention to that poll. New Jersey, how about this? Trump only down 7 in a Trump-Biden head-to-head in liberal New Jersey, and then you include everyone. That's an Emerson poll. Trump only down 5. That's extremely encouraging. I'm not saying Trump's going to win New Jersey, but we're talking about potential states that Trump could bring in and expand his map. New Jersey is not one of those states. It's really Minnesota and Virginia. So to see New Jersey even come out with polls, I'm still waiting for Minnesota and Virginia to release new polls. We'll see what happens there. Biden has gotten a bit of momentum recently, so I wonder if they will release new polls. On Wednesday, we got a massive slew of polls. Trump up in Arizona by 5, 1 in Georgia, 3 in Michigan, 4 in Nevada, 6 in North Carolina, 3 in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin sitting at tied, Arizona, you include all of them, Trump +5, and that's more accurate because it should be all of them on the ballot. Georgia, if you include all of them, Trump +3. Michigan, if you include all of them, Trump +2. North Carolina, Trump sitting +8 with all of them included. Nevada, Trump sitting +4. So when you bring everyone in, Trump goes from about a 1 to a 2-point advantage to a comfortable 5 or 6 point margin. And these were things that we just did not see in 2016 or 2020. 2016 was laughable how wrong the polls were, and that kind of led everyone to not take the polls seriously in 2020. And if you do want to look at the polls overall based on the electoral map, they did technically do a good job. Now, we don't know how much the election interference played into that election. The Democrats can say that they didn't commit voter fraud, and there isn't clear, concise evidence of them committing voter fraud. I think we all agree that both Democrats and Republicans in general commit at least a little voter fraud. The question is, does it swing an election? But it's already documented, it's on record through the Twitter files that, yes, the Democrats did drastically interfere with the election by silencing the October surprise, the Hunter Biden story, the crazy corruption. Did that affect the election, which would have made the polls more inaccurate? We really don't know when it comes to that, but I would say the polls were generally a little bit more accurate in 2020, but they were still underrating Trump's performance. They had Biden up by a lot more. The election was a lot closer. Trump only ended up losing by about 40,000 votes combined in several different swing states. Looking at Thursday, a general election, Trump v. Biden with Trump up 1. General election, including all of them, Trump up 1. So that's a rare poll. Emerson saying Trump does not gain an advantage from RFK Jr. And I do think it's important to point out, it's not like RFK Jr. is this crazy liberal. So it's not like we're 1,000% sure he's going to significantly help Biden, but there's just been a number of polls that show if you include Kennedy, he is taking a majority of Biden voters over Trump. It's not a guarantee, though. It's not like Kennedy's this crazy liberal or anything. You take a look at Rasmussen, that's a Republican pollster that has Trump up 8. He's certainly not up 8. I guess it's good news for Trump, but that's an outlier. General election from the same pollster, Trump up 7. Another general election, Trump, Biden, Kennedy, Trump +6. General election, Marquette University releases a tied poll, 50-50. Pretty funny. They also have Trump up 3 when you include Kennedy, West, and Stein. And then there's that Pennsylvania outlier, Biden +10. I guess if you want to cope and say, if you're a liberal, oh, Biden's going to win Pennsylvania, look at this, it's a total outlier. And I am someone that's fair. I admit Rasmussen is pro-conservative. I throw their polls out, but that Franklin and Marshall poll is totally absurd. And then you include all of them, Franklin and Marshall brings it down to only Biden +2. So how is it that big of a swing, an 8-point swing if you include Kennedy, Stein, and West? That's bad polling data. That is inaccurate polling data. And then you look at the 538 recent polls, they do have some different ones, and I mean, it's really close. Trump +1 even, Trump +3, Biden +2 +1, Trump +1, Biden +1, Trump +1. There's really nothing you can take out of 538, and I don't know what happened to 538. I think ABC bought them or something, and their site is basically unusable now. Like they're almost like a feeder site to ABC. It's sad what happened to 538. But either way, when it comes to the election right now, if we look at this and you see the overall total summary of the polls right now, and we were going into election night, I would say Trump's at about a 90% chance to win, and that's actually me underrating Trump because I want to be safe about it. But it's, especially with the polling that we've seen in 2016 and 2020, the only argument that they have is, oh, but 2022, the midterms overestimated Republicans. Yeah, because they got terrible timing on the Roe v. Wade, which swung it significantly. That's the only reason those polls were really inaccurate. Otherwise, I do think, especially considering Biden's horrible approval rating, he had one of the worst approval ratings going into midterms, and Democrats performed that well. How is that possible? Well, they had Roe v. Wade, the perfect timing to swing the midterms, and it skewed the polls. So I think these polls, they show it's very good news for Trump. We'll see if they continue to tighten, but still, there are going to be big swings. You're going to see Biden get great polls. People are going to lose their minds, guys. Understand It's just politics. It ebbs and flows. As long as we get a general consensus like we're seeing right now with Trump leading, I wouldn't be too worried. There's going to be news stories. They're going to say Trump is Hitler. He killed 40 trillion people. It's the same charade. It's the boy who cried wolf. Independent people don't buy it. They don't care. He has 40 trillion felony charges. We get it. We're done. It's overused. So that's the take right now on the 2024 election. It is looking good for Trump, but the polls are tightening, so we'll see. I do want to do these updates every Sunday. Either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.